You are about to witness history in the making.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Pop Culture Gamers podcast. The date today is the 15th of October. We're on show number 147, and as always, I'm joined by Steve. Hi, Steve, how are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you very much.
Good. So what have you been doing then, Steve?
Not great deal, really. I haven't been playing a lot of games. Watch a few general movies, listen to music. It's sort of a dead area at the minute. Obviously, we went to the cinema today, but we'll talk about that later. Won't mention more than that for now. Yeah.
You and me both.
Yeah.
For the cinema.
At last, a couple of things are coming. So I had the email from Sacred Bones for the Halloween Kills soundtrack.
Okay.
So what they do when you get it on Bandcamp, they give you the download code, and that came in just about a day ago. But I didn't look at the list of cues, what they were called, hoping I didn't want to get any giveaways for what was going to go in the film, and I haven't really listened to it either yet. I'll probably download it on here and then put it to my phone.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of bits and pieces have actually come in. So Dr. Sleep has finally shipped from Waxworks, which is that's just come out for the sequel to The Shining. And at the same time, Firestarter, John Carpenter's score for that remake, which I still haven't seen, but that score's on its way as well now. So
you're not looking at your screen, are you?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I've just got Dr. Sleep on 4K Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, I've got that. Yeah, it's good. I watched it the other night, but yeah, the what do you call it? Yeah, the vinyl just come out on Waxworks, so that's on its route. I've got two coming. They didn't put them together in one box. I've got two little journeys coming at the same time, or just about the day of each other. And hopefully Firestarter. Yeah, so Firestarter and that. So Halloween Kills ends. That will ship soon as well. So two John Carpenter scores and Doctor's Sleep will be on its way as well. So all good. I don't think there's much more going on. A bit of telly, not really. I think Mrs. watched more telly than I have at the moment. A bit of Netflix, but we've just watched a bit of junk TV together. Nothing to shout out about. Just a bit of cooking program or something like that. We're a bit behind with Celebrity MasterChef at the minute. That's finished already, but we've got a couple of bit more to do. That's all I can think of, really. Oh yeah, did my podcast with Wrong Reel. That's already out in the wild. Got another podcast to do later in the week with Film 89 with my top 5 horror scores. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah, good stuff.
Not a lot.
No.
Even
though we've had a couple of weeks.
I know. Things are just... And I do apologise, but I do have the football on my phone at the minute because Spurs are 2-0 up. I forgot they were playing today, but there you go. So it's we've only got 3 minutes to go. So. Anyway, what about yourself? How's the digging going on in the garden?
The extension to the house is most of the brickwork's almost done. My brickie is actually coming tomorrow to finish it off, and then I've got to wait for the windows to be made and installed, and then I'll be doing the insides, and then we can actually have it as a working room. So
be a while yet, though, won't it? You'll get the electrics done, everything else, or is there no electrics going out?
Probably another 6 weeks of this to go.
Yeah, builders sometimes can suddenly slow down all of a sudden.
Well, the building worker, they're on day 11 today for doing everything. They've actually been quite good. They've dug out the area where I'm going to put the patio as well for us while I had the digger there. They've done that while I was doing the rest. It's just now a matter of mostly waiting for the windows to be made.
Yeah, has the weather been good for it as well? Because that's always a bit of a down, isn't it?
Weather's been pretty good, yeah.
Because that always delays a build.
Yeah, no, it's been quite good. So yeah, just waiting for that to get going, and then we need to get obviously a carpet and that sort of stuff for in there. And I think by the sounds of it, my wife's quite likes the idea of getting an exercise bike, so that rather than paying for the gym for us to go, because the only thing we ever do at the gym is go on the exercise bike, just buy one and save the money on the gym, which would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, have you ever tried thinking about getting a walking machine or something like that?
Looked at treadmills as well, but decided to go on for a bike.
Yeah,
because they are slightly smaller.
And they can pack a weight, can't they, as well? Some of them. It's
some of them, yeah. I'm not sure which one we're going to get. We're not going to get one of those Peniton ones, but
oh God, no, that's ridiculous price, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't want the subscription afterwards either.
What if you just buy a normal bike, get a stand for it, and then just pedal it?
Yeah, but then you're not getting the resistance, are you?
No, I know, yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, we could have done that, and it'd been a hell of a lot cheaper.
And then you could link it to something to light to power something up as well. I mean, the little generator on it.
Yeah, that'd be good. Last week I went to London.
Yeah, I saw a couple of photographs of you in Piccadilly Circus, one of my favourite places to go to every now and then.
Yeah, well, I went to Hard Rock Cafe while I was there because kind of got to.
God, I've been to those places for years.
I know. Well, I decided.
Is it a bit run down these days? How does it look like inside?
Oh no, well, it was fine inside. I only went into the shop part. I didn't actually go into the restaurant sort of area. But my son wanted a Hard Rock Cafe T-shirt, so I said, "Oh, I'll go down and get you one if I can think of." So like 9 tube stops later and half an hour's travel, I got there.
Yeah, no, I do like going around there. Did you go around Leicester Square and all that? Have a little nose or not?
Around Leicester Square, walk down Regent Street to Central Point.
I don't know, because Leicester Square's on Piccadilly Circus. Leicester Square's at the back of it, and if you go to where the monument is and the road in between, that's Regent Street.
Yeah, I went to Regent Street.
Down on that big bend.
Yeah.
All the way down to the Oxford Circus.
Yeah, well, I came off at Oxford Circus and then I walked down
to
Regent Street and then I went down to Centre Point.
Yeah.
And then I went back to my hotel room. But it was a great conference. It was from a charity that I work with quite a lot called Marie Collins Foundation. So it was a conference about tackling technology-assisted child sexual abuse.
Okay.
So it's quite interesting because I'm at the moment waiting for my next course because they have this thing called what's known as a CEOP ambassador. So Child Online Exploitation and Protection Service. You can be an ambassador for them. So I'm getting trained up to do that. So yeah, that's what what I'm planning on next. And then I ran my own conference this week. Matter of fact, on Thursday, had 260 people there, and it was knackering.
Was it nerve-wracking or not? Or
I actually no. I've been planning this for the last 6 months, and I've had a good team of people working with me. Partners. Ranging from people who are delivering the talks in the workshops, right the way through to people who are delivering marketplaces. And we had there was 260 people there. 230 of them were schools, and because it was aimed at designated safeguarding leads in schools, just to raise the awareness of safeguarding issues. So. Again, we had Marie Collins Foundation there, who I'd already mentioned, but we had a great talk as well from a guy called Carl Hopwood, who's from eSafety Limited. He was talking about the risks that children do online, and how they can be, ruined. And we talked also about other things like poverty is not neglect. So, it's like just because children and young people might not have all of the latest traders or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're being abused or anything like that. It's not being neglectful, it's just the way of the world. Looked at trauma in children and young people, looked at child sexual abuse, contextual safeguarding, county lines, all sorts of really interesting stuff if you work in this area. But if you don't work in this area, it sounds quite scary probably. But yeah, a lot of it is quite amazing when you actually the analogy is in terms of like the online world is a lot of professionals say, we work in the we work with children and we work with them online, whereas the children just say this is the world. There's not an online world and an offline world. It's just the world. Whereas a lot of professionals still see that as a difference, and with young people, it's just merges all into one sort of thing, and it's trying to get that across to people 30, 40, 50s who are dealing with these young people who just don't see that difference.
Yeah.
And especially with parents as well, because parents need to do more about learning about online and about protecting the children when they are online. But things like you don't give a 10-year-old GTA. Do you know what I mean? There's a reason why that game is an 18.
Well, I remember back in the day queuing in my local video store at midnight for one of the GTAs, and there was a mum there getting it for her son, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but my son hates me because I'm quite strict on that sort of stuff.
But it's for their well-being as well. It's
yeah, of course it is.
They don't understand that.
No, and it's not only that, but places like GTA, their online community is quite toxic as well.
Oh God, yeah. So
this is it's not necessarily the game itself, but it might be the community that's linked behind it.
Yeah, unfortunately, social media is a great place, but also a bad place at the same time.
Absolutely.
But it is what it is, and I think people have to. More people are aware of it. I don't know if some mum and dads, maybe a bit older, don't get it or don't grasp it, maybe.
Well, I used to be chair of governors for my local primary school, and we had like 90 children in the school, and we ran an online e-safety night for parents, and 3 parents turned up. 2 of them were governors already, and I was one of them. The third parent turned up because I thought it was football practice.
There you go.
Yeah, and and that's the problem that you face when you're trying to teach people about being responsible about their online world and looking after the children online, because the metaphor is, if in order to teach children to swim, you learn how to swim yourself, and you also you get in the pool with them, you swim along with them, and you get them to lessons, stuff like that. Whereas a lot of parents are actually doing is just pushing the children in, not even into the deep end, but into the sea, and expecting them to swim.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. But it goes beyond that. But there's a lot of security controls and stuff like that in games that parents could enable. But I'm a parent myself. I understand what that nagging is like when your child won't shut up because they want GTA 5, and it's like, oh, for God's sake, let's not have this conversation again.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because it's that peer pressure that the kids are under as well. Who knows what the answer is, but it's an interesting area to work in, to be fair. Some interesting challenges to get over. But obviously, my job's much more than that, but it's an interesting subject. Anyway, shall we move on to our first bit for the evening, which is Gaming This Week.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
All right, so Gaming This Week, and we've got a bit of news. So anybody who's got their Oculus or Meta Quest will soon be able to play Meta Xbox. So,
and what is that, may I ask?
Well, Microsoft is bringing the Xbox Cloud Gaming to Meta Quest VR platform. So it was announced the other day that the 2 companies are doing a partnership at Meta Connect and announced a release of the Xbox Cloud Gaming with the Meta Quest. So you'll be able to play 2D games with your Xbox controller projected onto a massive screen at the Quest. That's according to CEO Satya Nadella, who said that at the event. So you won't be able to suddenly just be able to play Halo in like VR native or anything like that, but the app could be made far more immersive as time goes on. Playing any of hundreds of games in the Xbox cloud gaming, you'll be able to see the big screen adventure. So who knows, maybe this is the first step of Microsoft actually going into that larger world of console VR.
Yeah, it might be just the way they're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Or to just dip their toes in, maybe.
Well, let's face it, it makes good sense. Don't do the research and development yourself and just ride on the back of something that other people are going on. But of course, it also goes into this whole thing of xCloud taking over the world as well.
Yes, it probably is.
Yeah. So, Steve, do you want to do the new releases?
Just 1 second while I bring it up. Okay, so 18th of October, we have A Plague Tale Requiem on all platforms. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, the same again from all platforms. Then Flight Herds, again all platforms. I don't know heard of that one before. October the 19th, we got Monochrome, Morbius, Right and Wrong Forgotten. That's a PC. 20th, we got Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope on the Nintendo Switch. Then also we have Warhammer 4000 Shooters Blood and Teeth on all platforms. Then the 21st, we have New Tales from the Borderlands on all platforms. Also, we have Persona 5 Royale on all platforms, obviously coming on the Xbox for the first time. Then we have Scorn, which is Xbox Series X and PC. 22nd, we got King of the Hat, PC. 25th, we got Gotham Knights on all platforms and Victoria 3 from Paradox. 27th of October, we got Signalis on all platforms, including Star Ocean Divine Force as well. And then the 28th of the month, we have Bayonetta 3 on the Switch, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on all platforms, Resident Evil Reverse on all platforms there, and Resident Evil Village Shadow of the Rose, which is apparently DLC for the Village platforms, obviously except for the Switch.
Anything floating your boat there, Steve?
Well, Persona 5 obviously is already preloaded on my box, ready to go. It just says on there at the moment, coming soon. As we say, A Plague Tale Requiem, but I think I need to look at the other games first. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, not really at the moment. But then Resident Evil, I don't know what Reverse is actually. I don't know what sure that one is about. And then there's the DLC, but I don't think I've actually finished the Village yet. Which I probably need to get back to.
I thought you'd finished the Village.
No, I don't think I had. Right. It doesn't ring a bell, should we say? But,
I never actually got out of the village, but I never got into the castle or wherever it is you're supposed to go on.
I was definitely in the castle, and I met up with the protagonist, the lady.
Yeah.
Her.
The antagonist.
Actually, there's a link here. I'm just looking. So, what's it say? Customers have purchased a physical version of Resident Evil Village. Please keep your attached code safe. Oh, so that's something that could be a freebie then, by the looks of it. Reverse. So it might be something like an online bit or something.
I'm sure it is one, isn't it, for Resident Evil? Is it 2 or 3?
It's for the Village by the looks of it.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it is. And then the DLC, which would be interesting, but as I have not gone back to that yet. Yeah. Nice.
Thinking of codes, by the way, I forgot to mention that.
Yes, how you got on with that? I saw you whinging on Twitter that no one's getting back to you.
Yeah.
You're a lost soul on there, aren't you?
Because sort of like just getting ignored. So just in case anybody didn't get the podcast last time, what's happened is with Supermassive Games, anybody who's got House of Ashes on PC has had their codes revoked because Bandai Namco made a mistake and recalled all keys on the piece on Steam rather than just the preview ones that they'd issued out to people. That's called All Sorts of Chaos. So a lot of people have had the games cancelled.
Yeah.
Mine being one of them as well. So I've been complaining to Supermassive Games and to Steam and to CD Keys. And CD Keys have not replied to any tweets. Supermassive did. Pleased to say that Supermassive actually did message me offline and had a conversation with them, and I have actually got an update for that now as well. So basically speaking, if you've so just to get this here, so Bandai Namco as a publisher in charge of distribution has been in touch with the key sellers in order to provide new keys and is handling the customer support aspect for any players who were affected. they'll be happy to assist you to basically get a new key, and they give you a link to go on. This is also on the Steam page as well. So you can go back into Steam, go onto the House of Ashes, there's a link in there, and basically what you do is you have to prove to Namco that you've actually bought this game with the invoice from CD Keys or your...
Well, that's easy. That's an email, isn't it? So you can forward them that.
Yeah, or your email from Steam to say, you've purchased this item, because it's not just CD Keys who've been affected. People who've bought the game in Steam have. Because there's a lot of people who were in the chats about it quite, oh, well, you shouldn't have bought your game on the grey market. Yes, CD Keys is a grey market, but grey market doesn't mean that it's dodgy. It just means something completely different to what a lot of these idiots seem to think. So, because CD Keys is a well-established sort of company. You can also go back to the reseller and ask for a key. So I went back to CD Keys, and they did come back to me when I put in a note to them through their complaint system. And then they said, you have to show a screenshot of you having the message showing the date and the time on your computer.
You mean they don't have an email correspondence where they can go back to see who had the keys? That's ridiculous.
They've got all of that they've got all of that detail. The point is, though, unless you've done a screen grab, which I happened to do, but I didn't get the time in the screen grab.
No, but can't you highlight the photograph of the screen grab and it'll give you time and date or not? Has it got a timestamp on it?
No, because it was just literally, it was the snap tool that I'd done it with, and I then had put it into a post, because I'd kept that message going thinking I might need that later on. And when I opened up my Steam Deck, in order to be able to use my Steam Deck, I had to clear that message, which really annoyed me, because then you can't get that message back, which is super frustrating. And a bad design in terms of the Steam interface is that I think it should come up, there should be like a list of messages for that sort of thing, because I've never had this. I mean, I've got 1,600 games or 1,500 games on Steam. I've only ever had this once. It's a very unusual sort of thing. But yeah, so I sent CD Keys the picture, that I'd grabbed, which shows, my username, the time, the date, what the software was. Gave them all of the details about my invoice number and stuff like that on their system that they can then track, and have not come back to us. And it's been 2 days. And normally that company's quite quick at coming back. So I've messaged them again and complained again about, why are you not reissuing it? You've been given the keys by Bandai Namco. It's, Supermassive Games have already confirmed this. You're holding me up having this. Please send it as soon as possible. And just not heard anything at the moment. So I'll be going to Bandai Namco if I can't get any satisfaction by the end of the weekend, I think. But it's annoying because they're really making you jump through hoops to get access to something that you've paid money for. Yeah. And they shouldn't be doing that. Personally, I think that Supermassive or Bandai Namco should be giving away the new game for free to anybody who's been affected by this, because this has gone on for weeks. Yeah. But,
It depends who screams loudest these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, Anyway,
where were we?
Subscription. Well, we've got subscription games. We did all of the other ones, didn't we?
Got nothing in there, by the way, in the notes. Have you noticed that? Other than Epic.
Well, yeah, because we're not at the end of the month.
Oh, of course we are, because we're a bit early, aren't we?
Yeah. So we're only midway through. Evidently, the Gotham Knights, by the way, is while it's about after the death of Batman, it's not the death of Batman from the Batman games that we've been playing.
No, because this is down to the comics, isn't it? I think.
No, it's a different storyline.
Oh, okay.
I must admit though, I'm looking forward to Bayonetta 3. Might be actually a Switch
I haven't
game.
played them for years. I'm not. I don't know.
I like a bit of Bayonetta.
Yeah, I mean, I remember playing them back in the day. I don't know if it would still float with me, to be honest. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a few bits and pieces there. I mean, Call of Duty will do fine as usual, regardless of the war at the minute between Sony and Xbox regarding acquisition, so that'll be out on both platforms. I don't think it's going to be coming to Game Pass if anyone's going to scream and shout, why isn't it on there? They haven't bought them yet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the highlights this next couple of weeks is A Plague Tale and Bayonetta 3, I think, and everything else there I'm not bothered about. I know you'll be bothered about Persona 5.
Oh yeah, be my third playthrough. And
Resident Evil.
Possibly.
But the rest of it is a bit meh.
Again, it's that time of year, these things we're looking forward to.
Well, no, it's not, though. That's the point, because it's that time of year that all of the good games normally start.
Well, yeah, because FIFA's already out. Call of Duty, they're the two mainstays of this time of year, really. And we would normally have some other games that have been out in October, November, but they're not to now come until February, March.
Yeah, exactly. Just the way the world's after COVID, isn't it?
And Starfield and that, I can't wait to play that. Yeah, really look forward to diving into that game.
But anyway, shall we just do the Epic games? So
go for it.
Epic, there is for Steve an Epic game in here.
It is absolutely epic.
Yeah. So we've got Darkwood, which is available now until 4 p.m. on the 20th. And also Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove, which is again up until the 20th at 4 p.m. And then it goes over to Evoland Legendary Edition, and the one that Steve's got the mask he's currently wearing on because he's really quite sad about this game. Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition.
I should wear this on top of the Myers mask. It'd look a bit bizarre, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It looked like you had an identity crisis, but I suppose there was a bit of that, wasn't there?
Yeah, and I've got the helmet as well up there, so.
Yeah. So yeah, Fallout 3 on the PC.
Oh, what a great game that is!
Why you should get this, Steve?
Just go and just ping the download.
Yeah. Oh, well, to be honest, I've been saying this to you for years.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Fallout 3, it's on the Xbox at the moment, all improved and everything else they've done to it to give it the best effects they can.
On the PC, you've got the modding community. So that's
I don't know if Fallout 3 they have, though.
Yeah, they do.
Excuse me.
On PC, not on Xbox.
Yeah, because the modding community, I don't think didn't start till Fallout 4, I thought, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
No, modding community's been going on for years.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is with that game, because obviously Fallout 4 has got there's a new mod with a game within the game of Fallout London coming out, which looks mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get all the DLC with that as well to go with it, it's a grand game.
Well, it's Game of the Year edition, so it's going to be all of the DLC. That's why I say get your Epic account sorted out, Steve, and get that added.
This is how thick this is. This is the walkthrough.
The walkthrough, a 2-inch guide. 2-inch.
It's 2 inches. It's more like nearly 3, I think. And there's a nice little map in there with all the zones in it.
Yeah.
And this is I don't think, is this? Yeah, this is so you've also got, with that game then, hopefully you'll have Operation Anchorage, The Pit, Broken Steel, Point Lookout, and Mothership Zeta DLC.
The problem is, though, even with the handbook there, you've still got to be stuck under the stairs upside down.
No, you haven't, not anymore. That's a part of the old days. But let me just put that like that.
Always works, does that, as a winder.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So, what have you been playing, Steve?
Not a lot, because it just hasn't been that urge. Saying that again, though, I am putting in a lot of hours to FIFA 23 at the minute. So this is possibly going to be the last FIFA 23 with all the rights to the Premiership and everything else. I think it's going to change somehow next time.
Yeah, it'll be FIFA 24.
No, it won't.
No, I know they're not doing it.
You're being sarcastic.
This will be the last FIFA 23. Well, yeah, it will be.
Yeah, this will be the last FIFA game in this iteration of however they do it. Possibly, I don't know. It may well change. But yeah, I've just play Ultimate Team, and just go through the packs. I play it every day just to build up my my bits and pieces to get the packs to come through for free instead of buying them. Although with this game there was a few coins that come with it anyway, so I did buy a few packs with it, which were within the price of the game. And I got one player just the other day come through, and I sold them on the transfer market for 130k, and that was handy to have, so I could use it elsewhere in the market, which I'll do later because I think that transfer request went through while we was watching the movie this afternoon. So, but yeah, that's about it really. I have dipped into a little bit of Forza, and just briefly touched with Destiny 2.
Yeah,
that's it really. I think gaming wise.
For me, main game I've actually been playing, and I was quite surprised at this, was Dirt 5 on the Steam Deck. So Dirt 5, as you know, has not had good reviews generally on most.
No, wasn't it a bit of a tough game, wasn't it? Is it the way they built it?
Yeah, it is a little bit tough, and if you don't get towards the front at the very beginning, you're probably not going to. But it's all right on the Steam Deck for some. It's kind of like a cross between Forza and Forza Horizon with Dirt. Is the best way to describe it, but it just doesn't do it as well as the Forza games do either.
No.
But in terms of playing it on the Steam Deck, it plays really well. Quite enjoyed it on there. Other than that, I've just been experimenting with the Steam Deck, getting some games that are not supposed to be able to running on it. Other than that, haven't been playing much myself. I've just not had the time recently, because the other thing as well is my mother-in-law went into hospital with pneumonia, and she's 88. So we've been up and down to hospital.
How is she, by the way?
Like
is she okay? Comfortable?
It's a difficult one because she has mixed dementia and Alzheimer's as well. So it's a difficult sort of time.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
But there's one game actually that is out that I've been tempted to do. Yeah. Only because obviously PlayStation had it for a year before we could touch it.
Oh, Final Fantasy.
No. Before it's a Bethesda game. So before the acquisition happened, there was a game that came out on the PlayStation.
Right.
It was tied to them called Deathloop.
Yes. And
that's available now on the Game Pass.
Yeah.
I've not tried it. I'm just looking at it. Have you played it? Have you ever attempted to download it and have a look at it?
It didn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the games in the Humble Bundle this time as well.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not many people use that, but if you've just got a Steam Deck, get yourself down to Humble Bundle. They do a monthly subscription service where you get a few AAA games and a few indie games, and they're normally quite good. And they cost about a tenner, something like that. So Deathloop is one of the AAA titles this time.
I don't know too much about it, to be honest.
What, Humble Bundle? Or
no, the game itself. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
I'm not too au fait with what the game is about, whether it's a single player or is it a multiplayer. But looking at what I'm watching now on video, it looks like this well could be.
I think it's single player, but on Humble Bundle, Deathloop's definitely on there, and another good game that's in there is the Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope, which is the one that I streamed.
Yes, remember,
the Children's Society thing I did the other month. But they've also got Made of Scare, which is one I think you'd probably like as well. And then Railroad Corporation, Golf Gang, Disciples Liberation, Epic Chef, and Monster Train. So there's a few, a couple of good games and a couple of,
there's a few bits. I haven't been back to Mass Effect. I don't know about yourself. It's
no,
I should, but I haven't.
So Mass Effect uses the EA launcher, which unfortunately I haven't actually got round to installing or getting to work properly on my Steam Deck. But once I do, what I think I will do is playing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition on my Steam Deck. I've also bought a new keyboard. Nice little mechanical 80% keyboard for the Steam Deck to plug into my dock for it, and I've got one of my TVs in the other room. The Steam Deck plugged in, so I can either stream directly from my PC onto the Steam Deck onto the TV, or I can just play Steam Deck games straight on the Steam Deck onto the TV. So that's sort of like where I'm at really with gaming. Anyway, shall we move on to our movies, TV and streaming?
In quest of a better life.
Yeah, okay, so movies, TV and streaming. And the first bit of news is quite sad. Robbie Coltrane has passed away at the age of 72. So started with stand-up comedy before moving into films and television, and fitting equally into dramatic roles as well as funny roles. Anthony Robert McMillan, who is otherwise known as Robbie Coltrane, has passed away. So he began as an actor in Glasgow, taking part-time jobs while appearing in Edinburgh's Fringe with a number of small theatre groups. There were small parts in films, one of which was one of my favourites, Flash Gordon. He was the guy in the airport at the beginning who shuts the door of the plane when Flash gets on the plane.
I can't even remember that.
Yeah.
I really can't remember that.
Yeah,
bit.
you stick in your Blu-ray and you watch.
Mm.
It's Robbie Coltrane in the first 5 minutes.
I mean, obviously, his biggest known for fame, his biggest thing he's not well known for, I suppose, in the TV, it was Cracker, which was a great crime drama TV show.
Yeah, but he's also been in the Comic Strip Presents.
Yeah, he did little bits in and out, didn't he, with Blackadder and...
Well, Rick Mayall, Adrian Edmondson and Jennifer Saunders. That's who were.
But I think Cracker was what made his, that was what kicked his career, from there he went into movies, obviously, and he was in a Bond movie. He was in Goldeneye, wasn't he? Yeah, he was.
He was a Russian, but he was also his big thing into movies though was Mona Lisa Smile with Bob Hoskins, where he played Neil Jordan in the 1986 movie. Yeah. But obviously, anybody who's younger than
us,
younger than 40, will probably think of him more as being Hagrid in the Harry Potter movies. But such a shame. He was a good actor.
Apparently, he had COVID.
Yeah, just goes to prove it's not gone.
No, I've got my new jab out, by the way. Actually, I've got that to do. Yeah.
Oh, well, I went to my doctor's for a flu jab, and I said, "Oh, we've got the COVID vaccines as well, so we do one in each arm."
That's what I did last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up, looking like it had that move from the end of the Karate Kid, where he gets his arms going numb and starts swinging them about.
Someone else died as well this week, didn't they?
Yes, I forgot what
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, for Murder, She Wrote.
No. She was in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. That's what I remember before as a kid.
Yeah, but she was also in Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, I didn't like Murder, She Wrote. I just despised it. Sorry, I'm just going to say that now.
Well, I must admit I've never watched it either, but I know that's what she was probably most famous.
But Walt Disney's Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, which was in its day very innovative with the animation and live action in the movie. I remember seeing that. My mum and dad took me to see that as a little nipper at the time it came out.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is. We're losing a lot of good actors nowadays, but it's just the way of things, isn't it? As time goes on, no one lives forever.
It's that age, isn't it, that who we know and who we loved as children, and they're coming to that age where we're catching behind them, seems to be really quickly at the same time. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Have you watched? You want to watch any of She-Hulk?
No, I haven't. I know it's there to watch, but no.
And I doubt that you will probably pick that up at all. But my son and me have been watching this show for every week on a Thursday since it started. It's become like the Thursday tradition, so we're going to have to change it for something. But the last episode, I mean, it was, it breaks the fourth wall more than Deadpool does, to be fair.
Yeah.
It completely not only breaks the fourth wall, it literally climbs out of it and goes into the real world. But I'm not going to spoil any stories about it, but anybody who's watched the show knows that this show it's very self-aware of the fact that it's actually a show rather than it being a normal Marvel story. But I forgot why it actually mentioned this, to be honest now. But in terms of that, there's one of the things that's come out of that show is the fact that the Hulk movie is more or less confirmed. If you've watched it, there's an interesting reveal right at the very end of the show, which a lot of people have been predicting as well. But it's had quite a lot of hate as a show, and I think some of it's been a bit unjust, and some of it's been quite fair enough.
Yeah.
It is a very much a mixed bag of a show. It won't appeal to every fan, but we've watched it, and in that last episode, they did a real homage to the original The Incredible Hulk.
Right.
And, it's like my son did not understand it at all. He just watched it and was like, yeah, okay, that was a bit weird. I said, no, it wasn't. And then I found on YouTube the intro to The Incredible Hulk from, from the 70s, bearing in mind. And it was absolutely fantastic what they'd done. It was so funny. So it was well worth watching that last episode for that. And then I went and had a look up for Louis Ferrigno, to see, like how old is he?
He's still around. Like he's still around.
He is. He's 70, and I'm not kidding you. He looks like a guy in his late 40s. He looks absolutely amazing. He looks better than I do, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's utterly amazing the way that he looks. That was what I wanted to say about that show. But yeah, so anyway, let's go on to cinema releases. Do you want to do these, Steve?
Yeah, sure. There's a little bit of scrolling to do this time, but let me just blow that up a bit. So some of these have already come and probably here now anyway. And just today and next week. So we've got The Ink Life. We have The Grand Bolero, Vesper, Black Adam, which I want to talk about in a minute. The Banshees of Inisherin, Decision to Leave, Gravedigger's Wife, Rose, Barbarian. I want to talk about that one as well. Triangle of Sadness, and The Devil's Light. That's another one I want to talk about. Sorry. And Hilma, because I've seen I don't know about yourself. What trailers did you see at the cinema this afternoon?
I arrived a bit late.
Did you have any trailers?
I arrived a bit late, so I just sort of like came in at the end.
Oh,
I've seen the Black Adam trailer.
They had 3 trailers sort of off the bounce while we were in there today.
Right.
That's fine. I mean, bit of DC for a change. I think it'd be good for fun, that film.
Yeah, but it's all part of the Shazam sort of universe, isn't it? And that was not a good movie. And
seeing Pierce Brosnan in a movie, it makes a...
Yeah, in a superhero movie at that.
Yeah, I know. Well, Bond has always been a superhero movie, isn't it, in a way, I suppose.
But you know who's tipped to be joining Marvel, don't you?
Go on.
Harrison Ford.
Really? In what?
As Red Hulk and General Ross, because William Hurt died, as you know, and evidently he's coming in to be Red Hulk.
Yeah, so so you missed a trailer. So the other trailer I saw was the Barbarian, which is about these 2 people. So imagine where you go and rent a room for a holiday. You turn up there, you put the digits in the code to get the key in the front door, and the key's missing. You knocked on the door, and there's a guy there saying, "Hello, yeah." I said, "I've rented this room for this week. This bedroom, this house." "Oh, it's supposed to be me as well." "Well, come in, don't worry. We'll try and sort it. We'll just get hold of the owners." And from there, it goes a bit pear-shaped, and it's a bit of a horror flick. It looked pretty good actually. That one, very tempted. And
Bill Skarsgård, isn't it? Who he was wasn't he in Eternals?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
And It Chapter 2, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, it did look interesting, I must admit. But then the next one that came on, and I think it's this one because I didn't catch the. Let me just double check on the movie database. But click on the other links for these. There's one. I think it's this one. No, it might not be. This one's The Devil's Light.
The Devil's Light's one, the horror with the nun, isn't it?
But there was one about exorcisms and what is.
Yeah, that's The Devil's Light, because it's about a nun who performs exorcisms.
Let me play the trailer, and I'll put. Oh, sorry, the trailer failed to load.
And then she comes face to face with
this child,
with evil.
It's a child.
The mysterious past ties to her life.
But even the missus was sort of getting a bit creepy with it when she was watching. I looked at her and she said, "Yeah, this could be quite good." So that's out at Halloween. That's out about the 28th of October.
Yeah, that one's what you call it, Jacqueline Byers, isn't it? Who was in Timeless and Salvation. I quite enjoyed that as a show, but it only lasted 1 or 2 seasons. Which
this is now the images have now come on the screen. Obviously, in the movie database, does get a bit slow.
Yeah.
This looks really good. It's really right up my street. Very tempted to hopefully go and see this. Whether or not we can watch it online via subscription somewhere, maybe. But we shall see. But yeah, definitely want to look at that one as well.
Yeah,
that looks really cool.
Anyway, some interesting movies. I think we've got Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever coming up as well. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with that in the aftermath of losing Chadwick Boseman.
But
Anyway, onto the Blu-ray DVD releases. So a couple of ones we're picking out. We've got Creed and Creed 2 Steelbook in 4K. One for Nikki, one of our watches, is Dragon Ball Super, the complete Steelbook collection box set. We've got Ex Machina 4K Blu-ray, Fear the Walking Dead Season 7. Those are all out on the 17th, together with another couple ones out there as well. We've got The Flash Season 8, The Flash Armageddon, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame Special Edition 1923 Masters of Cinema version. And one for you, because I know you love your horrors, Steve. We've got The Ring 20th Anniversary Steelbook. God, is it really 20 years since The Ring?
But that might be the Japanese version, possibly, maybe?
Even so, it still doesn't feel like that long.
Yeah.
On the 24th of October, we've got Bullet Train. Did you see that?
No, I do want to see it. I'm going to wait for it to come to Sky. It looks really good.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good move. It's okay. It's quite action-packed. It's very stylized in terms of the colouring and the environments and everything. You've really got to follow it. It's not one of those ones you can nip out and have a pee and come back and not really miss anything.
I never have a pee in a cinema.
No, neither do I.
My missus does, but I don't.
My wife doesn't. That to me, I think that is sacrilege. Going to the loo in the cinema. Go to the loo before or after the film. Don't do it during.
You see, I mean, if it's going to be like a film that's 3 hours long, then some people just haven't got the bladders for it, have they? So you're a bit screwed on that.
Yeah, so sit at the end of an aisle so you don't disrupt everybody.
Well, it depends what you booked. I like to sit in the middle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I must admit, I tend to like to sit right at the back where the nice, expensive seats are. The leather recliners, electric recliners. So that's where I tend to sit.
Yeah, well, these ones were at the front, at the bottom of the screen, like this today. So you look up, but I thought, no, it's all right. The chairs are fine. The other leather ones are fine. The premium seats still. So what else have we got coming out then? Have you?
We've got Bullet Train coming out on the 24th. There's also Pennywise: The Stories of It Blu-ray, Raw Deal 4K and Blu-ray as well. Videodrome limited edition 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, I've got that to be shipped yet. I'm looking forward to getting that.
And Watership Down limited edition 4K Blu-ray as well, if you're into a bit of classics.
Bright Eyes by Art Garfunkel.
All of that sort of stuff, yeah. So there's a few interesting.
There's a couple of bits there. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is probably a sequel to the original. Vampire. Got a funny feeling I know what that is in the back of my head, but it just can't think right now.
I just keep thinking of the game Vampire for that one.
Yeah. Vampire Circus, I think it's a Hammer flick.
Am I wrong? The Vampire one is the Masters of Cinema version. So it goes back to the really old vampire movie.
What else we got there? Yeah, that's probably about it.
So,
I don't know about Ex Machina on 4K and it was worth a shot or not, I don't know.
It's all right. It's not fantastic.
There is some releases coming out. Let me see if I can bring it up on my phone because I was looking at it today because it'd be on the front page. So there is I'm going to say it's a company called the Film Vault. Heard of them?
Yeah. And
they are bringing out 4 4K movies which will come with some nice bits and pieces with them. So you've got Goodfellas, 1917, Scarface, and Blade Runner. They retail at $49.99 each. If you go and check on Zavvi, you will see what you get in the box. Nicely packaged with some bump and some nice printed cards with some of the information from the movie. So yeah, might be worth a shot. Saying that, how many Blu-rays and 4Ks have I got of Blade Runner on my shelf already? But you have a look and see what you think, Haydn, on that.
Obviously, when we do the next show, we'll mention about this as well. But there's Dalek's Invasion of Earth 2150 and the collector's set all released on the 31st as well.
They weren't they out a little while ago, weren't they?
No, this is a 4K version.
Yeah, and also there's a new steelbook you can pre-order now for a certain movie we saw this afternoon on steelbook already, ready for the steelbook edition.
But we'll talk about that and see whether or not we are going to or not.
Well, yeah, but they're doing 3 for 30 quid 4K horror movies at the moment.
Yeah, who's that?
Which is well worth a go.
Who was that, sorry?
On Zavvi.
All right, yeah.
You've got 3 for 30 quid, including Bram Stoker's Dracula's in there. The Evil Dead.
Got that.
Yeah. Halloween Kills, Halloween, Alien Covenant, Pet Cemetery. It looks like that's possibly. Is it original? I'm not sure. Obviously, Doctor Sleep, Hellboy, Gremlins, It, Saw, Resident Evil, Predator, Psycho, The Invisible Man, Overlord, Ghostbusters, Zombieland, Don't Breathe 2. The other Resident
Have
Evil
you
ones are
seen
in there as well.
there's a pre-order for the Film Vault Range 4K version of Blade Runner?
That's what you said.
All right, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was on about with the new the Film Vault. There's
Yeah.
4 of those. They're all at $49.99. But yeah, if you're into a bit of horror for 30 quid, you can get 3 4K movies for that. Bargain.
Not that many really in that list, though, that I'm after. I wouldn't have said
Well,
that Ghostbusters should be classified as a horror.
No, I know what I did. I
Now-
thought I did it right.
Actually, no, I'll take that back. The one with the female cast, that was a horror, but in a different way.
I did have one arrive today. Actually, arrived middle of the week.
Yeah.
It's the uncut version.
All right, Halloween Kills.
Yeah, which I have not had. So, I'm going to have you know what it's like. If there's a trilogy, regardless of what they're like or how you feel about them, you still put them on your shelf. But this has got the extended cut and the theatrical cut as well. So I did watch that a couple of days ago.
Good stuff.
Right,
Anyway,
should I do the cinema?
Yeah, you do the cinema charts.
Okay, so at 5 we got Amsterdam. At 4 we got Ticket to Paradise. At 3, Don't Worry, Darling. 2, The Woman King, and at number 1, Smile, which I need to see because it's a horror flick. As far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Blu-ray DVD.
Blu-ray DVD. We've got The Black Phone at number 5, a new entry. A re-entry is American Psycho. Up from number 55 is The Thing. Down from number 1 is Jurassic World Domination. And in at number 1 is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, I'm going to fall asleep again. Hold on, I see that. I'll go.
Because I've got the Steelbook version.
I can't see it very well because we're sitting there on a ledge with some trees. No, I can't. It just phases out.
Not phasing out now though.
Yeah, but you're this big on the screen.
All right, okay. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching that. I've had it for a week and I've just not had time to watch it, to be fair.
No. Yeah, I need to go back and watch the last little bit of it just to see what happens.
So let's talk about what we've been watching. So
you're going to start with Quantum. Your what you've been watching on that, and we'll finish on the last one.
Yeah, it's not Quantum of Solace either. It's Quantum Leap. Just in case anybody thought, oh, you're just about to say you watched a Bond movie. No, so I have been re-watching Quantum Leap, the original series.
That's on this. I've been watching it on the Sci-Fi Channel for weeks. That's where I've been catching it occasionally.
Yeah.
And recording it, and then just they have been doing the seasons in a row, rightly so.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing this because obviously the new Quantum Leap TV series is out now, which I've heard very much a mixed bag of.
Normally that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's forwards and against. It'll be on the Sci-Fi Channel soon, won't it?
Probably. I think the thing is what I want them to do is reference the old show. I hope it's a continuation.
Well, it is. It's not a reboot.
Oh.
Because I think it's happened with what Sam Beckett did, and whether they're trying to find him, I don't know. That's a part of the storyline, but it isn't a reboot. It's I'm sure they know about him.
Yeah, and I hope that's the way that they do it. I've heard that the show takes itself a bit too seriously. I think considering how well loved Quantum Leap is, I think they're probably quite paranoid about screwing it up. But just rewatching the first 2 seasons, well, the first season and a half, so far. It took the first couple of episodes were a bit janky, to be fair.
I think,
but that's the same with any new show.
Because if I remember rightly, when this came on for the first time on BBC Two, and you were probably in the same boat as I was when you saw it, they showed 2 episodes because they had the pilot, and then the first episode afterwards.
No, it was all 1 episode.
Or was it 1 episode?
It was all 1 episode, but he leaped twice in 1 episode.
Yeah, and it was like, you thought, oh, he's leaped. Oh, what's going to happen now? And you're not going to see it, and then it carried on.
But I used to love Quantum Leap and
Oh God, it was
And rewatching
it. I need to own it, but it's like
£78 on Blu-ray.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I know. But rewatching it again, it's just re-established just how much I loved that show when I was younger, because I get all of the sort of like it's just such a good show, and that chemistry between Dean Stockwell and Scott Bakula was brilliant. And when you look at Al now, I mean, Al is not the type of character you would get on a modern day TV series. You know, he's a womanizer, he's a bit of a drunk, he's a little bit too, commenting, but
yeah,
then
well, it's
all
nice.
of a sudden
It's
he'll suddenly go into this other side of himself where he'll be like incredibly
it'd be leching.
thoughtful. No, seriously, it's like it'd be incredibly thoughtful, or where you would think, where there's the episode with the boy who's got Down syndrome. Yeah, you would have thought that he would have been, because of the type of character that he was, and he was military and whatever, he would have been a bit brash and dismissive of that person. But then to bring in that whole side of, Al had a sister who was Down syndrome and she died of pneumonia while being in some sort of institution or something or other like that she'd been put in. Or whatever, it was, she had Down syndrome or something else, I think. But, and so they're building this other side of the character. And I know that it's to match the narrative, to do the story, but it's quite nice that they actually did do that. And when you actually look at all of the episodes where Sam leaps into a female body and stuff like that, it does highlight a lot of the things, like a lot of the grief that women get, from, or used to get from blokes, or still do anyway, from blokes making inappropriate advances and stuff like that. Because you see all of that in the show, and it's just, it's really well done, especially considering the time.
I'm trying to think if any of the episodes actually come out and hit me. I'm trying to, because there was so many.
Yeah, I mean, there was the whole storyline about Sam leaping into his own life and his brother's life.
Yeah, and going home.
Yeah, and it was all about his brother dying in Vietnam with the unit that he was in, wasn't it?
I think were they later episodes, obviously, because you're in season 2.
And there was also a little bit of the evil jumpers, which
because you had the evil leapers, didn't you?
Yeah.
But do you know what I do? What I remember, there's a sort of couple of episodes that sort of stick in my head. One is where, and it might be one in series 1 or series 2, where he's out in the not like the West or something, and there's like a ranch and everything else. And he hasn't leaped yet.
Competition to get some woman or whatever.
I don't know. I can't remember what the storyline was, but I just remember the last bit at the end, and there's a little kid there with his specky glasses on.
Yeah, and
it's Buddy Holly.
Peggy Sue. Yeah,
that's it.
Said, try Peggy Sue, and that was the purpose of the leap. I love that where they have Sam do this whole really convoluted story. Because in that one, that was the same one that I was thinking of when you said it, because he was a vet who was in love with this daughter of the owner of this ranch, and in order to marry her, he had to beat all of the trials that she put him through.
Yeah.
And then he did do that, but then he didn't marry her because she was more in love with one of the other ranch hands, and they went off as a couple. And it was sort of like, oh, well, I'm going to be sort of like stuck. And no, it wasn't. It was because he had to help Buddy Holly name the song Peggy Sue. And I just love the fact that they've done that whole story and it was completely not necessary. All I had to do was do that one simple thing and he would have leaped. Yeah, they did that a few times.
And then there was another one. Another favourite of mine was the JFK one. Yeah, that was really good. A very well put together because of the storyline and the past history with what was going on with it.
Yeah, and evidently I watched. I posted it on our Facebook group. Did you see the video interview with the guy who produced the show?
Oh, Donald. I can never say his surname. Donald Bellarino.
Yes, Donald
Bellisaro. So
Bellisaro. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So he was talking about all of the rules that he had for the show, and one of them was you don't leap into real people's lives. So it wasn't anyone famous, and he'd only broke that rule a couple of times, and one of them was with the guy who shot Kennedy. What was his name? I'm tired. Sorry, I can't.
Neil Harvey Oswald.
And he personally knew
that was in season. I'm just looking. That was season 5, believe it or not.
Yeah, it was the last
first
season.
2 episodes.
It was the last season, but he knew Lee Harvey Oswald as well in real life. So it was like, watch that interview, Steve. That's on the Facebook group. It's really good.
Yeah, and obviously, what gets to me and always has got to me, and it always brings a tear to my eyes, the last episode Mirror image.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean the guy, as I said, we said it probably before the guy that plays the barman was in Animal House, and he's a bit of a chunky guy now.
Yeah.
And you had all these other people that were in the character were names of people from his past or part of his life, even though they were an old man with bad breath.
Yeah, there'd all be people he'd leaped into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them was called Ziggy, wasn't it? Old Ziggy, and he was an old timer.
Yeah.
Remember rightly.
Whereas Ziggy was the AI computer.
Yeah, exactly. And then, obviously he was able to put right what that once was wrong from this point of view was for his dear friend, and just telling her that he's coming home.
But he didn't.
Really got to be that episode.
He continued
and I still got the music in my head that they were playing on the jukebox. It just sits there with me. It's weird. I don't know why it connected like that, but it just did. Really,
yeah.
Well,
it was probably one of the first bits of TV to really strike you at an emotional level. Because it was for some reason was quite a tearjerker, was that episode.
Oh God, yeah. Every time I watch it, I sort of well up every time. It's just crazy. Yeah, even thinking about it now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, just watching it, you sort of like you felt like you'd built up that, and you'd been part of that conversation with, Al and Sam right throughout all of those times, like silent observer. You felt like you knew the characters because they had such good chemistry, and it felt like they were bringing you into everything, and it was great. And I think that's why that episode, especially when he decided to continue leaping, was such a pivotal moment.
Because the screen goes black and he says that Sam never got home.
Yeah.
It carries on, and it's so good.
Yeah, I love that show, and it's so good just going back and reinvesting that time to watch such a good TV series.
There's not too many like that, to be honest. I mean, there are quite a few if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like your Star Trek shows, Space 1999, UFO. Those are ones that would come to my mind.
But this was an 80s, so that was probably much later. Obviously Star Trek carried on in with the Next Gen and everything else, but yeah, this was a one of a kind. It was always on BBC Two as well, wasn't it? It was never on BBC One, I don't think.
Yeah, never was.
No.
You said it's the 80s. It was 89 to 93.
Was it really? It seems like it was older.
Yeah,
than that.
I always used to think it was like 82 or something like that, but no, it was the end of the 80s. So it was on like the last year. So I'd left school, I was an adult sort of thing when this came on. But I used to love the show, and what I'm doing now is I'm introducing my son to it, and he's really enjoying it as well.
I mean, it easily could have been a movie, a one-off movie as well, to get him home.
Yeah, they could have done that. I hope that if they do link in the story in the new series, that they do find Sam and bring him home.
I mean, it would be great if they could sort of tidy that up.
Yeah. That would be a bit of fan service, to be fair.
Yeah. And also,
I don't think anybody was happy about the fact he continued leaping.
Unless they were going to do another series of it or something,
That might have been the plan. That might have been, we could maybe come back in 5 years or so, and it never happened.
Wasn't there one where he was there with Presley as well, if I remember rightly?
Yes.
It wasn't there?
Yeah.
They're called Memphis Melody by any chance?
I don't remember what the name of the show was, but the episode.
Yeah.
But I've always liked Scott Bakula, because I always thought he was good in Enterprise as well. I quite liked him as a captain.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't, although it wasn't the best Star Trek show in the world. No. But, just Quantum Leap was what he was, that was his break. And, if you're going to say typecast, that's what it gave him, really, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, typecast as like a time-leaping scientist, but his characters were all very different. And if you actually watch his acting, he does act differently in every show.
Oh, he has to, whether he's a woman on stage or, or if he's a
mafia gangster singing in a wedding.
Yeah, okay, trying to know the tune as he's as Al's trying to tell him the words, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that was that. But even when he's when it, like I watched the one where he was the Down syndrome young man, and his body movements, he'd obviously studied somebody with Down syndrome, because he sort of like made himself into that stance and that sort of movement as well. And then when he did the one where it was like the sort of like 9 to 5 episode where he was like the glamorous sort of like Dolly Parton sort of secretary.
Yeah.
you know, where he was being chased around the office by a boss. All of that.
Say if is that going to play? Look,
It's what going to play.
one sec. Look, thinking about it. Give that a minute. No, it's just don't want that one running. Go back in. Out of there. Bear with me a second. Let's just go in. Play. Have you heard what the music is for this show yet at all? You haven't had any.
What, the new one?
Yeah.
No.
Because again, that was such a great little tune that they put in there for the theme. It's, you know. No, I've just done a link on Daily Motion, and it's got the second episode here. I think whole thing.
What, of the new show?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I play it. Yeah, so we watch official gunslinger. Oh, it's a clip. Sorry, I do apologise. The second episode, he's in a western, that era. But yeah, no, I've not really read any reviews on it, so I don't know how well it's doing.
I think people are taking it as very mediocre, but the original show was so iconic. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to, you know, come in and change that formula to too much of an extent.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but yeah, no, I'd be interested to see how that goes. Sometimes they do try to bring back other shows, you know, off the back of this. So Scott Beluga said no to this reboot, didn't he? He didn't want to get involved.
Yeah.
Would you think he would change his mind if he could just say, let's just tidy it up?
Yes, I do. They'll throw money at him. There'll be a point where he'll say yes.
It was never say never, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Sean Connery did that one, didn't he? So never say never again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm watching a documentary. There's a documentary on Sky for him at the moment. I think it was on. I think Channel 5 on Sean Connery's life. I've got that at the moment on there. Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about Halloween ending.
Yes. I was looking forward to this, to be honest.
I know you were.
I watched the uncut, or should we say what they call it, the extended cut. This one here, obviously. I watched that a couple of days ago. I did have my gripe, and we mentioned it on the show before, the evil dies tonight and all this malarkey, like it was the whole town with torches and pitchforks, something out of different various programs and films that we've seen.
Apart from the fact that with Halloween Kills, it was everybody just got traumatized by Michael Myers, didn't they?
Yeah, but they obviously it was this witch hunt halfway through the film, and then Jamie Lee Curtis was in the hospital, and which she was not to the very end again. Jamie Lee Curtis has been promoting this over the last few weeks on TV shows and around the world now, obviously do. And I was having my reservations about it because I've not looked at any spoilers. I've not looked at any reviews until this afternoon when I've come out. I listened to Mark Kermode's review, and he got it spot on. To be fair, I expected to see is what I saw. I think because although Halloween, the first one they did back in 2018, was not a bad. That was quite a good movie. This one here. I'm not even sure if they actually said that it was set 4 years after the last film. I don't think they did.
No, they didn't.
No. And yeah, it is what it is. It was all right. It was okay. I do have a few gripes.
I think you more or less agreed with me in terms of when I said it's a solid 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah. This is not going to win any Oscars. I'd say I did the score that we did hear from John Carpenter and his godson and his son was cracking and spot on as usual, and I look forward to picking that up when it comes in the post at some point when it gets shipped.
It just didn't do anything different or anything overly different.
Well, the first 15 minutes of the film, I thought, okay, what's this direction going in?
That was a bit subversive, but
it was good though. I like the way I was shocked to see how that panned out before they went to back to.
But as soon as that happened, I knew what was going to happen in the film. Do you know what I mean? I knew that A would lead to B, and then C would come in. But then I thought
left. And then there's going to be two directions how this goes. As I was watching the movie, I'm thinking, okay, right, and I've got questions, and I've got a couple of questions about it that I can't really say here because it wouldn't be fair.
No, we're going to be cryptic, but it does end the franchise.
Let's put it this way: Halloween ends, and there should be no more. That's it. The story's put to bed in a way without saying too much, and that is it. It's done and dusted.
We're not saying whether or not that's a good ending
or a bad ending,
for Jamie Lee Curtis either. We're just saying
that find out for yourself. Yeah. If they want to reboot the series again, I'm sure someone might do that. But I think
10 years, it'll get rebooted.
Yeah, but I think I'm happy, to be fair, with the original Halloween movie. And although God, there's so many now. I mean, as I said to some, it wasn't yourself, I was talking to someone else as well this afternoon. I would probably sit and rewatch Rob Zombie's couple of movies that he did for Halloween, which aren't bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. But they're bone crunching as far as I'm concerned, especially for the gore side. But I know I've always originally said Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 is one movie to me.
Yeah.
And for them to break that into one movie and then to go to this PSD for and how she copes with life and being traumatized, because there was never any well-being in those days, was there? There was nothing for aftercare for anyone that's been raped or attacked or witnessed.
It was
crime.
The human condition, the human mental health was just not
non-existent those days, wasn't it?
Not understood. It wasn't even understood properly.
No, it never was, even in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, or whatever.
Yeah.
For whatever reason that someone was either in a war or whatever. She went through.
Sorry, go on.
I was just to say she went through hell.
Yeah.
And she was classed as being cuckoo because she was traumatized.
Yeah.
Seeing her friends killed on that night.
You look at, for example, Rambo: First Blood. Yeah. You've got a Vietnam veteran coming
did
home
he go through hell?
Who has post-traumatic stress disorder.
Absolutely.
And he's treated awfully by the people he tried to protect. And he goes a bit nuts. Yeah? He was ill. There's no two ways about it. And Rambo was ill. Right up until the Rambo movie, or if not beyond that. You know, and that's the thing, is back in the 70s, the 80s, there just wasn't the mental health care. There wasn't the mental health understanding. You had a lot of, in America, veterans coming back from Vietnam, traumatized, suffering from, post-traumatic stress disorder, and it not being recognized. And even, I thought they touched on that a little bit in Quantum Leap as well, at some point. I think that they do, if I remember rightly. Can't remember what episode. But, and the same is true for things like, as you said, rape. There wouldn't have been the counselling for Jamie Lee Curtis's character, after the events of the original Halloween. But I just feel... Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, including her granddaughter.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's the only one that survived, the only one that's also with her survived Halloween Kills. Because Michael was in the biggest killing spree. I mean, he took all them firemen out at the beginning of that one.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe. But I would love to say something, but I can't. And I mean, I know a lot of reviewers for the proper sites. I'm not allowed to say anything anyway. I don't want to spoil it. But, there's a lot of shit went on with this. And, the people that got traumatized, even did you remember seeing that lady in the wheelchair, the coloured lady?
Yeah.
Who she is?
Yeah, she was a next door neighbour for Jamie Lee Curtis from the first.
But she was in, movie. It was her, her character was the one with the toy in the house. I think it was her, with her husband when he took a rampage there. But I didn't know what I wanted to expect. I didn't know what I wanted from the movie. I suppose what I would have liked to have seen is it carried on the same night, not be 4 years later, and then sort of just keep that pace of terror going on. Because to be honest, there's no pace of terror in this movie at all. Yeah. There isn't anything in it. It's not scary. All right, there's the odd one or two jump scares and my missus jumped.
I don't even think there's the odd one or two jump scares. I wouldn't even say
there was one bit that made the missus jump. Or was it?
Is that at the beginning?
Yeah.
That is the odd. That's not even a jump scare.
No, but that made people.
Sort of like a ugh.
Yeah, but the film, other than the music doing what it does, there was no. It does after that 10 minutes. It slows down for a good 40 minutes, 50 minutes.
Yeah,
and then it picks up a little bit, but there's nothing there that does hold what the other movies used to hold. And as horror movies go, and there's a lot of them out there nowadays. They're churned out like candy. And a lot of them do have jump scares in it.
Yeah, I mean,
even that. But it just didn't have. I don't know why it just didn't have that.
It just failed to capture the promise of the original movie, and it gave a rather by the book sort of delivery of, this is what must be in a Halloween movie. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, it did try to do something very, very slightly different, which A, was not needed, and B, just didn't work because the actor concerned was not strong enough
in
terms of that. Yes, in terms of that role. I just didn't find him in any.
But he was, but again, he's someone else that had gone through that trauma, wrongly or rightly. He went through trauma, and
yeah. But I just did not. I was straining to, I was trying to keep things very vague. But
I know we can talk about this up when we finish. But no.
He wasn't strong enough for the role that they built him into.
I didn't know that's the route there, but the way that story panned out.
As soon as I saw what happened, that was exactly the route. It was like somebody opened a door and there was a yellow brick road going on in front of me. I knew exactly what was going to happen in that movie.
But I thought but obviously not knowing what the story is in the first place, I didn't know that was the route they were going to take.
But that's the thing. I did completely.
Because what I'm saying is, before I walked through the cinema,
I
had no inkling. That's what I'm saying. No, I had no inkling of how this was going to go. And when it started, even with the rock music at the beginning, which I didn't like,
we
can talk about that. There's nothing to say anything there. The rock music was in there. The way the credits worked, I didn't like that either, because it wasn't like the rest of the other movies.
Yeah, it just it was a square peg in a round hole.
But I will purchase it and put it on the shelf, because it will have to go with I'll have to have the trilogy.
Yeah.
And I will watch it again.
I think that says more about your OCD than it does about the movie, to be fair.
Or as someone said to me the other night, you're a completionist. I get that.
Yeah.
But I probably will go back and watch the two Rob Zombie movies. Actually, now I do have those somewhere. I've got them digitally, actually. But you can't beat the original, and it's simple as that. And actually, even Halloween 2, which I've got on Blu-ray, that finishes the story. Michael dies in it, an explosion with Dr. Loomis in the hospital. And that's the end of the story. Finished, done and dusted.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Which clearly he did it because then there was a sequel.
I nearly said something, and I was going to say something. I thought, no, you can't.
No, but we're on about the first trilogy, so this is like the 20-30-year-old odd movie, so there's no spoilers here. If you haven't seen it,
if you haven't seen Halloween 2 was early 80s, and it carried basically when you see Michael Myers fall out of the house onto the grass, and Dr. Loomis comes, he shot him, goes outside, and you see the grass all bedded and flattened where he was lying there like this, and he's gone, disappeared, and there you get to see the hospital. The ambulance comes and takes Laurie to the hospital. Actually, one of the guys there that's doing the ambulance, he was in The Last Starfighter, and funnily enough, the guy that was playing Michael Myers directed The Last Starfighter. But there you go, that's just trivial. And then it carried on from there in the hospital, and all the things in the hospital, which were great fun. And that ended with the gas explosion with Dr. Loomis, and it was all over. And then Halloween 3 came along, which was not a Michael Myers movie, but a really good movie. Then you had The Curse and the other ones, and the drivel that followed from there. Halloween H2O, which gave it another timeline. But yeah, I've seen them all and gested them as not enough. But yeah, you can't beat the original. Simple.
Yeah.
And what's even frightening now is that David Gordon Green, the director, is now going to be rebooting The Exorcist. Oh, God, I'm not gonna go near it.
Hasn't that just been rebooted?
No, there was a TV show called The Exorcist, and at the end of, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 seasons, the original character from Exorcist was in it. I think well known in it. But yeah, they're rebooting that, and also Blumhouse, which is a part of the production team that did these movies, they're also going to be doing Christine.
I think for me, anything that the Halloween movies, I wouldn't classify them as a horror per se. I would put them on a similar trajectory as they're a slasher
movies anyway.
They're a slasher movie.
Because that was if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have had Friday the 13th, and so on and so forth.
Wouldn't have had Scream.
Probably not, no. But it was a start of a genre that was nicknamed a slasher. It's still a horror movie at the end of the day, but there's only about 3 kills in Halloween.
Yeah, but
that's all there is.
But for me, I wouldn't really classify, in terms of what I think of a horror movie. I wouldn't say that Halloween is. It's a slasher thriller. It's not a horror. What a horror is to me is something that is more supernatural. So
I'm not going to go down that Matrix route with you now, all right?
No.
Because that's like saying that. Because if you go in that movie database, it's a horror movie, and it probably will say.
Yeah, I know it's classified as a horror movie, but I personally don't find horror movies that could actually be real. Effectively speaking, you're talking about a serial killer walking around with a knife and a mask. Yeah, that's Halloween at its core. But for me, a horror movie is something that is more supernatural. That, you know,
but actually he is to a certain degree, because obviously you don't know that till later, because you shoot him, he's not dying, and it's like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that just what makes it go into the realms of fantasy. But again, it doesn't make it feel as much of a horror as, you know, like Friday the 13th or something, you know, or A Nightmare on Elm Street. They, to me, are more horror than Halloween is. Halloween is more sort of like suspenseful drama slasher sort of side of horror.
Anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, it is what it is. It's now done and dusted. Yeah.
Until the next one.
There won't be. Not for a long, long time. I may well be I might be 6 feet under by then.
It won't star Jamie Lee Curtis, I don't think.
No, that we're not pointing that means anything, but
we're not.
You know,
no. Whether or not she lives or dies, one way or the other.
Her story's come to a close.
I think she's finished with it.
Her story's never been in that timeline. The story's closed.
Yes.
In the other timelines, who knows?
Who knows?
There are 3. I think there's about 3 different timelines there.
That's what makes it a bit dumb as well, isn't it? Really.
That's it's how you reinvent.
It's not a consistent universe, is it?
I'm going to say this. I did like. There's a little bit of homage in the film as well. I noticed a couple of little bits they did in the film to the original as well. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to say what they are either. But yeah, they're quite very obvious, to be honest. But I did sort of what's the word? I did sort of gasp at a second in the film.
Was that the knife in the hand?
No, it was when it was. No, it wasn't that. No, it was in the radio station.
Which bit in the radio?
Well, the second bit in the radio station.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I saw the actress. I thought, yeah, she follows me on Twitter. And I thought, I know she is. Well, I would do a little hint. I'm gonna put post on there to her.
Yeah.
Because she's gorgeous. Because she loves her horror. But yeah, no, I did because I've not even looked at the cast list, so I didn't even know she was in it. But yeah, she was there for 5 minutes. But...
Yeah, it was very mediocre. It tried to do something different, but it didn't do it far enough. We'll talk offline what I think would have been a better way for them to do.
So yeah, horror and thriller. See if it says. So
yeah,
we're both right. But yeah, actually, I'm looking forward to talking about this again. Actually, with I'll show you. I'm not going to say what it is, right? So we're doing a top 5. We've got our own top 5 horror scores for the show. These aren't my 5 and his 5. What I will do is I will just show you the box art so you know what my top 5 is. Okay. Yeah. So there's the first one.
Yeah.
There's the second one. This is all to do with the scores.
Yeah.
There's a third one.
That would have been my number 1. But...
Okay. And then what's that? 1, 2, 3. Here's the fourth one.
Less so for me. That one,
because I love the music in that, and then obviously the last one is going to be.
I don't remember what the music was like from that.
Anyway,
sorry guys, I know that's not really great for you guys who were.
Because if you want to know what these are, you're gonna have to listen to the podcast. But we haven't recorded it yet. But yeah, so that's my. It's difficult to put a top 5 scores together.
Yeah.
I could do another different top 5. I could do a top 10 easy. But yeah, that's my list. That's why they're just sitting there, because I did watch The Shining the other night.
Yeah, I miss us doing those specials actually.
Well, yeah, we should do.
Because we used to do them all the time. Oh, when we first started, we used to do one a couple of months, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we could still do another Halloween one or something, as in on something, or do a top something, you know.
Top 5 horror movie. Moments in horror movies.
Yeah, I did on Sky. There's a program at the moment called there's a top. I don't know if it's a top 20 horror moments, and they got a few people sitting there watching what's going on. So that was on Sky. I watched that the other night. It's interesting. But yeah, we could do some like top 10 top 10 favorite horror moments.
Yeah,
which would be interesting.
Definitely.
Because there's a lot.
I think we'd have very varying different amounts as well, because I don't watch the number of horror movies that you do, but we watch different movies as well. So yeah, it'd be an interesting comparison. And
then what we could do, we could put it out on Twitter for people and on Facebook to give us their favourite moments.
Yeah, we could.
There you go. And it won't be a long show. It wouldn't need to be too long.
No.
I think we should do it. I think we should do it.
I'd be happy to do that.
Between now and the end of October, which isn't far away, but 2.5 weeks yet.
Yeah. Oh well, let's schedule something in and we can do that.
Anyway, what's left to do? Because
we've got our listener questions. to do. So let's move on to listener questions.
John, what's happening to us?
All right, so listener questions, and we have, as always, Mark. I was prompting him using Facebook Messenger today, saying, "Mark, we're recording early."
Yeah, get your ass into gear.
Get those questions in. So his first question is, what is your idea of the perfect gaming machine, and has your idea changed through the years?
It's still sitting here.
Yeah. I think Steve would have been a Vulcan, because if you cut him, he bleeds green.
But I mean, yeah, but we've all been through an iteration of consoles and machines and PCs and whatever we've done. But even though I think a lot of us would have said that a lot of the fun times we had, if we reminisce, would be on the 360 in a way, if you know what I mean.
I don't know. I had a fair old fun time on the Xbox One.
Mm.
You know, when it was you, me, and Chris doing Destiny.
Yeah, bless him.
That used to be fun.
But as a machine goes, you know, it's moved up in the world. It's not as big as the fridge sitting here, but you know, it's now smaller. It's been sideways on. It's been all different versions of it coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would pick
the PC, because you can just keep upgrading it. You know, it's always backwardly compatible.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just take, you know, I've got games going back that play on that system to like the 90s. You know, it's just, well, it does what it says on the tin. It plays your games, plus it does a lot of other stuff as well. I mean, obviously, depending upon what sort of like model of PC that you have. But for me, I think my ideal gaming machine's always been PC. It's just the PC has disadvantages. The first one of those being the fact it's normally tied to a desk, tied to monitors, as opposed to plugged into a TV. And obviously the initial outlay costs, but then the running costs for it are normally cheaper than a console. So if you buy a lot of games, it swings and roundabouts. So, okay, so do you want to do his next question?
Yeah, sure. So in a majority of your gaming now fulfilled with subscription services, or do you still purchase most of your games you play?
50-50. I would say.
I think I purchase 2 a year, if that. Maybe 3.
I'll buy the odd cheap indie game, or if it's a game I really want, like for example the last game, I think, what was the last game I actually bought? Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. It was one of those two. But I've completed both of those.
Yeah, I've got to go back to The Quarry, which is a nice little horror flick in its own way.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the last thing I did purchase FIFA, but you know, and my next purchase will be in February for Destiny next expansion.
Yeah, I think for me, I still purchase a lot of games, but mostly PC, because of like the Humble Bundle. So almost by default, I get 8 to 10 games a month just by that. But I do play Game Pass, and I've installed Game Pass on my Steam Deck as well.
Yeah.
So, and I will no doubt install it on the Quest, so that I can like sit there and play a game while my wife's doing something.
Would you ever consider watching a movie on your Steam Deck?
No.
If you say couldn't sleep and you're up still at night, you think,
I'd just get my iPad out and watch it on there, because it's bigger screen.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, the Steam Deck.
It just come across as I thought, I know it's going to be not far off my size of my phone, but it's probably bigger than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bigger than that. Not as wide, but maybe as wide, but a bit taller.
Yeah.
You know, from the landscape sort of orientation.
Yeah, of course.
But I wouldn't see the point in watching a film on a Steam Deck when I could watch it on my iPad, which is twice the size of the screen. I mean, when I went to London last week, I took my work laptop, my iPad, and my Steam Deck, and I was wandering around London with that attached to my back. That weighed quite a bit, actually. And then when I got there, I thought, I won't take the dock because I won't be able to do anything. And when I got into the hotel room, there was a little like box unit on the wall, and there was a HDMI in for the TV. So I could have like taken my dock with my my lead, plugged it in, and played the Steam Deck straight off the TV.
Yeah. I mean, when I used to travel, when I used to work around country, staying in like little, not like sort of Premier Inn style, or not necessarily a Premier Inn, but there'd be bed and breakfasts. What I used to do is I'd have 5 jobs in a week, and I would travel to the highest one first. I'd go to Manchester.
Yeah.
I'd install a new environmental system in a comms room somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd stay overnight. I would have had. Then I might have had my PlayStation with me, or PlayStation 2 or something.
Yeah.
Plugged it in, gamed. Brought some food, had the food in the hotel room, just games all the time. And every night I went down. That's what we did. I just was playing games. Occasionally, because obviously with the PlayStation 2, you could put a DVD in, couldn't you?
Yeah. So
occasionally watch a movie or something.
No,
later on. Go on.
I was to say, I used to go about the country a lot with my job years ago, and at one point I was seconded to work for Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary, doing inspections of police forces.
Right.
And back then, because I was going on a 3-month secondment to do this, and especially for going, because I knew I was going to be in a hotel for 4 or 5 nights a week, I bought a PlayStation 1 with a flip-up screen.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
I've still got that, and it still works. And I used to play on that, and it used to be absolutely fantastic. It was a little bit difficult to read some of the text on Final Fantasy occasionally, but it was great.
Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, that was what it was like, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But there was, it was great. And then after a while, because all of the hotel rooms that I went into had normal TVs, I just, when I got the PlayStation 2, I just took that with a controller, plugged it into the TV when I got there.
Yeah, I'd have a couple of, because obviously those days, then you were more than guaranteed to find a coaxial output for a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Where back in the day now, these TVs that are sitting on the wall, you have difficulty getting to the inputs at the back, aren't you? You thought, oh.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. In a hotel, in a Premier Inn that I was in London, it was a plug on the wall. You could just plug it in.
Yeah.
Because I actually ended up doing a load of work because I took my work laptop, and obviously it was the week before my big conference.
Yeah.
So I was sorting out guest lists and like room layouts and stuff like that on the big TV.
And I used to do, but obviously these days you can do a little bit of screen sharing as well.
Yeah.
So I've had a film on, but like I could do when I was in Spain.
Yeah.
And everyone went to bed. I did a screen share on the TV in the room we were staying in Alicante. This is for one night only. I sat and watched Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick on there. That's great.
Yeah, I've seen Maverick now as well.
Oh, have you seen it now? Have you?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was good. It was very much. There was a lot of fan service in it, in a positive way.
Oh, superb.
I didn't like what they did with Val Kilmer's character.
What, you mean the outcome?
Yeah, I didn't like that. I think that they could have. They didn't have to do that. That just felt like. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't he poorly anyway?
I don't know. But he doesn't look well, does he?
No.
In real life, but no, I just thought. Well, I don't like the fact that they've done that. Actually, thinking about, I was reading an article about Tom Cruise, and did you know that one of the movies he's got planned for the next couple of years is to actually shoot a movie on the International Space Station?
I know, I read that. I went, oh, wicked. Man, he's God. He is.
I'll tell you what, though, going up into space like that's risky business.
Imagine insurance.
Think about that one, Steve.
I know. Well, William Shatner can get away with it.
Yeah, but to be fair, he only went into low Earth orbit, not into.
But if he's going to go into space, I mean, all he did say was they were going to shoot in space, so there might be some scenes in space, I suppose.
And interestingly enough, do you know that William? Well, yeah, that's the whole point. He's going to be the first ever actor to film on in space, a movie in space. That's what he's going up there for.
Yeah.
But evidently, William Shatner, since coming back from being in Jeff Bezos' penis-shaped rocket, as he's now actually he's suffering from a real medical condition that a lot of astronauts have, which is like some sort of depression from going into space because of like looking into the void sort of thing, and how it affects some people's minds. And evidently he's quite negative about it, in terms of like, it's like I was watching this interview with him. He's like saying, when you look into the void, all it is just like looking into death. It's sort of like, this is Captain Kirk talking here.
Yeah, no.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because you would have thought that he would have been like so beat and stuff like that, and it's like, no, we're destroying the only planet that we can live on, and everywhere else is death. It's sort of like, really? Whatever happened to Strange New Worlds? Oh yeah, season 1 finished. Hopefully we'll get season 2 shortly.
Oh,
have you watched that yet?
Is it all on Paramount Plus now? I can't remember.
Yes.
Just saying that. You've not mentioned this to me, and I put it on Facebook, and you haven't mentioned it. What do you think of the trailer from New York Comic Con for Picard? Can you tell me you haven't watched it?
I've watched it, yeah, because it's got her off Pulp Fiction as the antagonist.
Because you get to see them all. You get to see all the characters in that trailer. Quite a long trailer.
Yeah, with my favourite non-data character.
Yeah, evil one.
Yeah, Law.
Yeah, so it does look, and they're also someone else that's going to be in it is going to be Sherlock Holmes, Moriarty.
Yes, indeed, from a ship in a bottle.
Yeah, I wonder how that got lost.
Well, obviously, somebody must have gone, oh, what's this isolinear chip here in this thing that's running?
Just shaking it out.
Yeah, but in theory, they can give Moriarty what he wants now.
Because they've done that in Voyager.
The mobile emitter from Voyager.
Yeah.
So they can just say, here's the technology, there you go, off you go, Moriarty.
But is he going to be the evil antagonist in this whole
no,
thing?
I think he'll be a side character, because that the woman who stands up and say, in a restaurant and starts waving the guns around on Pulp Fiction, she's the main villain.
I love you, honey bunny.
Yeah. But I forgot what her name is. But the other thing is, that Jean-Luc evidently has a son in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's probably not going to be really, he's probably not going to live that long, because let's face it, sons of captains of enterprises have not historically lived very long.
You see, that's
movies.
Yeah, but that's just I don't know. We've got just to finish here, but that's something he's always wanted, and he didn't have that life. All right.
Well, there was the episode where he was supposed to have it, but it wasn't. Someone else was altered.
But also in the movie, obviously he was in that void, and he had a family. It was Christmas, and that was a big rush for him, even though it wasn't real. Yeah. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah. What else did they have? There was any other announcements?
There is a Titan A, which is a Constitution 3 starship.
They did show the ship, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They showed one with the tuna cells, very similar to the Enterprise, didn't they?
It's the basic thing, but it's got that. It looks like, for me, it looks like a sort of mashup between the nacelles of the Excelsior, the saucer section of the Constitution 1 class ship, the 1701 refit, and a lipstick. That's what a square lipstick at that. Do you know what I mean? That's what it looks like to me. I just don't like the engineering hull. I just think it looks horrible. They should have had that more rounded and give it that more classic Constitution sort of fit. But evidently, all of the corridors and the bridge are still going to look like the Sagan class that the Stargazer was.
There's going to be a good Omen season 2. What else was there? Didn't they show the trailer for Harrison Ford, or was that another Comic-Con just recently? Showed the Indiana Jones trailer.
I think that was just shown at Comic-Con.
It was one of them, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it was this one. I'm just looking what else was on there. There was a few live streams. There was a few trailer releases. I mean, the main thing was going to be the Super Mario Brothers movie. Yeah, don't even go there on that.
Yeah, with Chris Pratt. It's me, it's a Chris Pratt.
Sorry, it just ain't gonna work. He's probably getting paid megabucks for it, but
I bet he is. It's me, it's a Star-Lord.
Yeah, this is a Teen Wolf movie. Well, which is going to be linked with the universe for Paramount Plus, I think. Apparently. Yeah. But yeah, no,
So what we're saying, Mark, is that we've veered off the subject that you actually asked us quite considerably. Because you were asking about subscription services of gaming.
Paramount Plus.
About 50-50 for gaming, and about
and me
70-30 for subscription services.
Do you want to do Paul Wilson's question?
Okay, so Paul, would like to know, would you say that the Steam Deck is the best handheld device released based on its relatively low price point, storage, easy expandability, and a wealth of top-class games? Many of the classics can be picked up for peanuts, which is true. I got Bayonetta for £2.85 the other day. And is Steve pondering purchasing one? Well, I can tell you the answer to the second question, because unless it's got an Xbox badge on, Steve won't buy it. So the first question is, yes, I do think it's the best handheld device made, because you can actually emulate with a little bit of sort of like illegal jailbreaking of your Switch. You can actually play Switch games on it. So, you can copy the ROMs and stuff like that if you know how. There are lots of YouTube
do that on
videos
your phone,
that show
didn't
you
you?
to do that. But, you can, the versatility of the Steam Deck is absolutely amazing, but it is a handheld PC. So it's not surprising it's going to have that sort of ability.
Yeah, with Windows and everything else you got as well. It's just very...
Well, now you can dual boot Windows on it. So
basically, it's a bowl of... It's a round bit of plasticine, because you can do anything you want with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the integration with Steam, it's absolutely fantastic. Might not be the most technically best version of a handheld console out there, because there are other alternatives to the Steam Deck, but a lot of them are a lot more money, and none of them do as well as the Steam Deck in terms of what the Steam Deck does. The Steam Deck is in a different class to these mini PCs that are out there at the moment. It's doing a different thing, but it does what the other ones do as well.
Yeah.
So I think if you can get one and you want to get into PC gaming, it's a no-brainer. Get one of these. You can it even outputs to 4K. Granted, frame rates per second's not great or anything like that, but you can tweak all of that in the settings. You can go over the thermal override, all of that sort of stuff. There's lots that you can do. So will you consider getting one, Steve, if you had the money?
If I had the money and I could to waste on it, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
Because there's other things that are more important at the moment I could do with a new PC.
Well, that would be your PC. You could make it your PC.
No, I need for this and everything else.
No, it'll do that.
Yeah.
Just dual boot Windows on it.
But yeah, but it won't be the same. I've got my two screens here and everything else, and I'd like to just do whatever I do.
The official dock's got HDMI and
and I've got me Plex server under the desk here as well.
It'll run Plex.
That's got 500 movies on it.
It'll still run it.
But it's a nice idea. But I think I've tried it with my phone. I use my phone to do a little bit of gaming very minimally. If I want to do that, I'll come in here and I'll sit here and play on here.
I know what you mean, because I'm not a big mobile gamer, but I would say that the Steam Deck has probably changed that a little bit. But it's because I know I'm playing a PC. In my head, I'm still playing a PC game. And it's great that you can be at home playing a game, shut the game down, go down the street, be in the car waiting for the wife, and continue playing the game that you were playing where you were left off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, do the same thing in here. I'll come back and I can carry on playing where I left off.
Yeah, but you can't sit in your car and do it and then come.
No, but I know. Anyway, shall I do the last question?
Go on then.
Thinking kept on for this one. So Scott Kidd says, out of every game that's come out, what game would you want to play again and why?
There's lots of games to play again.
Is there anything that you would like to play again, but why would you want to play it again? I mean, I know you've played Assassin's Creed 3 times, or probably those sort of games.
Well, I played it like 2 and a bit times.
Yeah.
But
is there any game you'd like to play again if you hadn't played it, to get that experience again back?
What, afresh, do you mean?
Yeah, as if someone wiped your memory of one game.
Yeah.
And then you were going to then re-experience that game.
Yeah.
What would you like it to be?
As if I've never played it.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, no, I get that. You have to play Mass Effect 1 first, though, if you remember it.
Yeah, but you never, you said I had to pick one game. I would have said the Mass Effect trilogy. As, so the legendary edition of Mass Effect, having never played the original 3. Yeah. Play that completely fresh, that'd be amazing.
I mean, I do go back to games, and I've been back to Metal Gear Solid, one of those before, and I've been back to other bits and pieces, and I go back to BioShock, which I think I'd love to play that. I'd love to play that with my memory wiped.
You know that isn't there a new BioShock game coming out, and also a Bioshock movie.
Yeah. I mean, there's been talk of a movie for some time, and it came and it went. But yeah, there is a new game apparently in the works from somewhere. Same with Fallout. I mean, playing Fallout 3, we mentioned it earlier. You know, it's there to pick up, and just blown away by something like that. I know the graphics might look a bit dated now, but the experience of what you're actually the role player you're playing.
Well, I mean, right now I'm playing Star Wars Fallen Order on the Steam Deck. I've completed that on Xbox, but I'm playing it again because I like the game.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I tell you what, I did enjoy it. I've never gone back to it, even though I finished the second one yet. It's The Last of Us.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
Yes.
I know some people. Did you finish it or not?
Yes.
Did.
Yeah, I actually completed The Last of Us 2, and then went back and completed The Last of Us.
Was it the clickers that you weren't too fun with?
I would. Yeah. I don't know why.
They were rather annoying.
3, it just never resonated with me, and it never resonated with me on the 4. But then I played Last of Us 2 on the 4. I thought, actually, that was better than I remembered it.
Yeah.
And then I went back.
And I'd say the same for the Persona games. Although, saying I haven't played the earlier ones, which are coming to Xbox later in the year. I think next year they're coming. But again, that would be great. That's just such a good game.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. So, guess that's it then for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's 9:30. That's not too bad.
Yeah, got through it quite quickly this time.
Get a bit of FIFA in tonight. We've got some whiskey here. Got a bit of research to do.
I'm just gonna chill out to a movie, I think, tonight. Or I might watch another episode of Quantum Leap. I'll tell you one thing I haven't talked about is Andor, Star Wars Andor.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk about that next time.
Is it any good? Just briefly, you think it's all right?
Yeah, it's
because Rogue One was really good. I really enjoyed that movie.
Rogue One was really good. Rogue One was one of the best Star Wars movies.
I did have a little. Just say I did have a little bit. I did sort of watch a bit more of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just had a little bit of a.
I really liked Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah,
it was a good show. I think Leia was maybe a little bit too grown up for a 10-year-old girl in it. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, I think she was a terrific little actress as well. She obviously got a big personality, and she's going to go far as that girl is.
Yeah, actually, something. It's only funny. It's funny because obviously, excuse me. So I got Disney Plus through my daughter.
Right.
That's fine by me. I mean, they use my Netflix account for God knows how long when they were living with us. There's a couple of things I just realised because I don't know about it for yourself. When I was in the cinema today, there was adverts for Disney Plus, Prime, Sky, all these sort of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's quite ironic that these competing sources would actually be advertising at the cinema, the very area that they're trying to destroy.
I know, and Netflix was on it as well. Netflix were advertising something that was coming out later. Totally bizarre it was in that. But what it reminded me was that Disney Plus have got the documentary on the Sex Pistols, which I don't want to watch it, but I do. I know it was poo-poo by John Lydon. He said it's not like the real deal. It's based on a book by one of the other band members, but I'm just tempted to maybe go back and have a little look at some point. Outro time.
Yes, so do you want to do your bit?
So, yeah, at Steve07 for Twitter, and take the @ out, and that's my game tag for Xbox. PlayStation is the real Steve07 on there. My YouTube channel, The Vinyl Cues, and there's an Instagram account, which I forgot. But the Instagram account is actually Vinyl Cues as well, so I've only just started playing with that. I think you just pinged me over on that as well.
Yeah.
So I need to be putting more vinyl and bits on there as well. And some of the ideas I've got for putting movies and vinyl on the same time, which I thought was quite good, actually, quite a good bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah. And yourself, sir?
So for myself, it's on Twitter at HERJUK, on PSN, Xbox Live and Steam, it's HERJUK. On an Epic Games platform, it's Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget, you can also follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/popculturegamers, our Twitter feed, which is at popculturegamer. We have a Facebook group, we have a Facebook page. You can email podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk, and our website, which is https://anchor.fm/popculturegamers. And that's it for another show. It's in the bag, and as they say, it's a good night from me.
And a good night from him. Good night.
Good night.